Well, good morning, everyone. This is John Craig, and you are with us on this Monday, the second day of the week, here on January the 13th. And in the year of the Gregorian calendar 2020, and on the Hebrew calendar, it is the 16th day of the 10th month of Tevet in the Hebrew year 5780. Can you believe it? Yes, time is ticking on. This is Let Us Reason Together, where we base this whole program on Isaiah 118, which is, "Come now and let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are as scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they will be like wool." And this is where we sit down, reason out current events, cultural shifts, and of course, this week's Torah portion. And we can either push back or push through. Nevertheless, if iron does not sharpen iron, sparks will never fly, let alone ever get a fire going. And without a little heat and a good midrash, how will our hearts ever get soft and moldable enough to be transformed in the way that the Spirit and the Ruach HaKodesh wants us to be, and maybe have a little fun along the way? We're going to have some fun today, and we're going to be talking about some issues. We're going to talk about the Torah portion. We're going to talk about the Brit Hadashah connected to this week's Torah portion. We're also going to be talking about a headline that I think will interest a lot of people that may not know what's going on over in the Middle East. You want to stick with me on that, and some other weird and quirky news and headlines that you want to stay tuned for. So if you like what you hear, give us a thumbs up and share this on your social media. We want to get the word out, let everybody know what's going on here in the Messianic Lamb Network and what's going on here on this show. We want to hear from you. We want as you interact with us in the chat room. And so go ahead and post your comments. Let us know what you're thinking as we talk about these different ideas today. Also, one of the things that I want to go ahead and introduce my co-hosts. And I want to bring into the picture Cram. Who is Cram? Well, here he is. Hello, Cram. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's up? How's it going, Craig?
It's all good. Craig and Cram. Ready to do a podcast together.
That's it, Craig and Cram. Instead of John and Sandi, you ought to put Craig's.
Craig's.
Craig apostrophe S. Craig's.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Yeah.
Call you Craig male and Craig female.
There you go. We
How's
can do
that?
All right. There's some thoughts for today. All right. Well, we're missing Darryl.
Who knows what goes on up there?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I maybe I don't want to know. But hey, we're missing Darryl today. Rabbi Darryl Weinberg is missing today because so he hopefully will be back with us this next week, but he had some work that came in and he needed to do that. So also I want to welcome Miss Sandi Craig. She's going to be entering into the picture stage that way. Yeah. My stage right, stage left, whatever you want to say. Good morning, Sandi.
Good morning.
Getting her stuff put together. And
we still need to get that.
I know.
Get that going.
We do. We always have to have this great entrance.
No. Good morning, Craig female.
Craig female.
Good morning, Cram.
What's up?
All right. Well, I wanted you both in the picture as we talk about these weird and quirky shower thoughts, because I want to hear what your thoughts are.
I bet you can see them on our face.
Yeah, well, maybe so.
I can read them in John's glasses, his glare off of the computer there.
So. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't have glasses on today, Mark.
made you
focus on my eyeball. See my.
You guys are crazy.
It's stick your face in your computer day.
Yeah, there we go. So weird and quirky. So where do these weird and quirky shower thoughts come from? It's when these thoughts come into our heads when we're in the shower. Okay, these are not my thoughts. I'm just going to give you that disclaimer right now.
I take a bath, John.
You take, okay. Well, then you will never have a shower thought.
I don't have thoughts, period, once I get into the tub. I just don't.
All right. So here's some thoughts. I'm going to continue with the discussion from what we had last week. And so think about this. When you say forward or back, your lips move in those directions. All right. Forward, back.
Forward.
So
Everybody-
somebody actually thought about that in the shower.
Yeah.
Forward.
Forward, back. Okay. Yeah. And if you want, you could do a head movement. Forward, back.
Forward, back.
Just wanted to say, let's move to the next one.
How come Sandy's not trying it out? We're doing it, and she's
Y'all
not
are doing just
doing
fine.
it at all.
She will not embarrass herself on live YouTube.
Oh, I've embarrassed myself many times. That's not true.
She did 613 planet shows. What are you talking about? You won't
That's exactly
embarrass-
right. There was plenty of embarrassment.
All right. Hey, we need those bloopers too. Hey, here's the next one.
Good.
Sandy, you like potatoes, right?
Just go
You
on.
like potatoes. Your stomach thinks all potatoes are mashed.
I just can't understand why anybody would think of these things in the shower. Where
I don't know, right? Okay. How about this one? Teenagers drive like they have limited time. Old people drive like they have all the time in the world.
that's very frustratingly true.
You must still be a teenager.
I must be. But sometimes you are the latter.
All right. So let's move on from that.
John, can we push go? Can we go?
Don't look at the color of my beard. All right. Here, think about this. I'm not old.
No, but sometimes you drive like it.
No, but elderly. That's what I heard you guys say the word elderly during War Room prayers this morning, and I had to stop fixing my breakfast and ask Nina, honey, am I elderly? And she said no. So that was good. But
Oh, that was sweet.
at what point does your life switch to elderly, and then what is that phase, and then it stops and now you're just stinking old? Where is that elderly phase at, would you say?
I think it depends on the age of the person who is labeling.
Well, maybe, when you get those frustrating AARP notices through the mail, the ones that we're never going to join because AARP is so liberal, but you start getting those, they think it's what, 50?
50. I think I first got mine when I was 50. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are great, man. I love it. And may I just take this minute to say that you guys are absolutely awesome in War Room prayers. You really are. It's amazing because how many people would publicly, literally, cast out demons and raise the dead and all of that kind of stuff right on live prayer show, because literally that's what you guys are doing when you're praying. And our other people do too, but it's amazing your wordage in how you pray over this. And I just want to commend you right now. I love to hear you guys pray. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And you were done by about 35 minutes after the show started. And I asked Adina, I says, so were those short prayers? No, they just get at it and get it done. They just raise the dead and heal people right there. And it's like, yeah, I'm with you on that.
All right.
You guys do a great job.
Well, thank you, Mark. All right. So here's the next shower thought. If I punch myself in the face and it hurts, does that make me weak or strong? I'm not punching myself. That was assisted punches.
I can't even go there.
All right.
Well, what's the answer?
If I punch myself in the face and it hurts, does it make me
Did it
weak
hurt?
or strong?
Did it hurt?
I think it makes me stupid.
do you, if you cut yourself when you are hitting yourself in the face, do you use duct tape to as a Band-Aid?
Oh my goodness.
All right, last one. Clapping is just hitting yourself because you like something.
See, I did that. Nobody else did.
Clapping is just hitting yourself because you like something. And if you enjoyed that, hit yourself. There you go.
Mark didn't do it. There's always one that's not going to participate. First it was me, then it was Mark.
Shower thoughts. That's all I can say. Why
don't you ask everybody to point out their shower thoughts in the chat room?
Yeah, if you've got a weird and quirky shower thought.
Or what are your thoughts in the shower?
Yeah, throw that in there. We'll go back to it. Okay, here's a verse for the day, and this is from this week's Torah portion, Exodus 2, 24 and 25. So God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God saw the sons of Israel, and God took notice of them. I like that. Just so, where do we live? I think we may be living in Egypt. Not literally, but we're living in Egypt because we're not in the land, and it can be a land of slavery. So I like that. God's paying attention. He's just paying attention. So, okay, here's some things to jumpstart your brain with, some weird news. This is police itching to find out who put bed bugs in Walmart dressing room. It says Pennsylvania authorities have been dusting a bottle for fingerprints, and employees are reviewing store surveillance video to see who might be bugging the store. It says police in Pennsylvania are itching to find out who put bed bugs in the men's changing room of a local Walmart, but so far the investigation is just scratching the surface. Things start getting buggy on Thursday when employees at Edinburgh Walmart found a closed pill bottle containing live bugs in a boy's jacket being sold in the clothing department. The bottle was thrown out in the trash, according to the Associated Press. However, a day later, a hygiene services contractor contacted by Walmart found bed bugs crawling around in the men's fitting room. On Saturday, another Walmart employee found another closed pill bottle with several dead bugs on the floor of the men's department, according to ABC News. Pennsylvania police have been dusting a bottle for fingerprints, and employees are reviewing store surveillance video, so you might be bugging the store. A Walmart spokesman told CNN, is this fake news? Wait a minute. Go ahead. The company is working with a pest management company to rid the store of bed bugs.
But here's the deal. You can easily transport those things into your home.
That's the deal is that because when you do something like that, it can become an epidemic.
Oh, yeah.
The threat of that is ungodly.
And that is horrible because they're in so many cities and things right now. There's such bed bug infestations. And they say even when you bring an item into your home, you should run it through the dryer on high. But unfortunately, that could ruin some things. But it will help destroy some of that. But just having one in your home by bringing it from one place like Walmart to it, there you go. You pretty much have to get rid of everything in your house.
Yeah.
Well, if you bring one pregnant one, but if one isn't pregnant, then don't you really need two? Because they do need to procreate.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. All I can say is that, wow. Anyway, the Pennsylvania State Trooper, Cindy Schick, it's in Pennsylvania. The New York Times told the New York Times the bug-filled bottle suggests a possible prank, but hopes that it was not a prank by an employee. It sounds as if two separate employees found two separate bottles 2 days in a row, she added. No arrests have been made, but Schick said at this point suspects would most likely be charged with disorderly conduct. Yeah. Anyway, here's some other headlines from around the world. Statistics show teen pregnancy drops off significantly after age 25.
Huh?
That was from the New York Post.
That's stupid.
Wait, teen pregnancy
Drops off significantly after age 25.
Teen pregnancy should be considered 13 to
25.
16, 17, 18.
Well, these days it's the new 13 to 25 is what it is.
Wow.
And if you're talking about millennials, it's the whole range.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. Okay, beware residents in Lewiston, Maine, and this is from the Sun Journal up there. They have a headline, Spay Neuter Clinic for Low-Income Residents.
And that, get it? I got it.
Yeah, by far. We used to get at this job that I have, you have a fax machine for a business, and other businesses will send faxes through that are advertisements. And a lot of insurance companies do this. And we used to get, I got to think about this because it was so good, is we used to get this one for insurance, and it's how was it worded? Some kind of insurance for low life insurance is what it was. It was the headline. There was words on top and bottom, but the headline was low life.
All right. Hey, all low lives can get insurance. That's awesome.
I love it. It was so good because that's all you saw was low life insurance.
Here's the next one from the Toronto Sun. Missing woman unwittingly joins search party looking for herself. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one before.
Okay. How about this one? Fox 8, Cleveland. Man sues wife for being ugly and wins.
That's messed up.
And wins.
Yeah. Right. How about this one from the Boston Globe? Man executed after long speech. Yeah. And the last one from USA Today. Local man fails breathalyzer test despite eating underwear.
At what point do you stop at these? I mean, it's like, should I go? Or you get to this point and it's like, oh, we got a great laugh on that one. Let's see.
That's it.
All right. So I have more stuff, but we're going to move on. It's time for us to jump into the Torah portion, and I've asked Sandi to jump in.
Oh, you asked me because Darryl was out.
Well, Darryl was out, and we like to hear from Rabbi Darryl.
Get real here.
So now we're bringing in the. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say the second team. I'm saying we're bringing in.
You used to.
She's ready.
Well, on my show, when I did Let Us Reason, I switched it around every week. The news, Brett,
you did
the Torah.
Yeah. She did. I have to admit, she did. Yep, she's good at that. But it's okay. She's ready in season and out. And I'm sure when you asked her to this morning, she says, "Yeah, I'm ready. Everything's good. Let's go." I'm sure that was her response. So
we are jumping into Exodus this week, and I want to focus on probably something that most of you wouldn't even think about. But let's go ahead and read Exodus 1:17 through 20. It says, however, the midwives were God-fearing women, so they didn't do as the king of Egypt ordered, but let the boys live. The king of Egypt summoned the midwives and demanded of them, why have you done this and let the boys live? The midwives answered Pharaoh, it's because the Hebrew women aren't like the Egyptian women. They go into labor and give birth before the midwives arrive. Therefore, God prospered the midwives, and the people continue to multiply and grow powerful. Okay. You may say, well, are we going to talk about the midwives? No, we're going to talk about the word why. Why? Well, we're going to talk about this word because it will help answer your question of why even today. Because there are two Hebrew words for why, lama and medua. Medua is number 4069 in your Strongs, And it is the question that the Pharaoh asks, Medua, why? And it's very mechanical. It's like, what has happened up to this point to cause this? It's asking about this process, but it's not going any further. And we may look around today and say, why? Why are we asking? Why is this happening to us? Why did this occur? And unfortunately, without eyes of the Spirit, we're going to be looking at the mechanical process. For what reason? We're not going to be examining the big picture. And that's what the word lama does. Lama is far wider concept because it's wanting to know the spiritual significance. Medua means what happened in the past to cause this state of affairs. For instance, when Moses looked at the burning bush, Medua tu Yavir Hasna is what was said. It's what is it about the bush that causes it not to burn? But when we're asking the mechanical reasons, let's bring it to today. Why are these things happening? Why did this happen? Why are these devastating things going on? Or why didn't this come through? Why, the question, if we just simply look at the mechanical answer, we miss the big picture. And if Pharaoh would have asked Lama and looked at the big picture for what in the future is this thing happening? Why? What is the end result? What is God working out in our lives to cause this, to use this experience to get us to this end point? That is Lama. Lama has this purpose within it, and it requires foresight and spiritual vision, and it answers the question, to what purpose did these women or these men do these things? Why? What is being played out here in the big scheme of things? Now, if Pharaoh would have heard that spiritual answer, he might have been even more scared than he was concerning the Hebrew people if he knew the end result, because it was to raise up and show them who God was, to destroy the economical system and the whole way of life, the gods being served, etc., and to put them in their place, to show that there's but one God. The purpose of letting the boys live was to allow prophecy to unfold. It was to raise up a generation in faith, and raise up a powerful generation that will follow the King of Kings. And ultimately, we need to look at our own lives and say, Lama, what is happening? Why, Father, did this thing happen in my life? I trust you enough. I trust you, because I know that you're using this thing to work it out and give you glory, but work it out for my good. It may seem devastating, but I'm not going to look at the why and the mechanical reasons, A plus B, or 1 plus 2, etc. I'm going to look at the bigger picture, Lama. Why? Because when we start asking Lama why, it awakens us to the prophetic value of the word. It wakens us up to that God has a plan and a purpose in our life, and he didn't forget us. There's a reason for this thing. Yeah, the mechanical things of the past may be part of the Medua, but the Lama, the spiritual vision, is much bigger, and we need to focus on that. The Hebrew women, the Hebrew women are lively. There's so many different translations of that. That satisfied, at least to a point, the Pharaoh. But the mechanical reasons should never satisfy us, because we always need to be looking to the bigger picture. We need to be, but in that, if somebody would come to us and say, why, Lama, let us never give the mechanical answer. Let us always be prepared to give the bigger picture, the one that looks toward the future, the one that brings in the word and the life, and answer them with that kind of answer, the Lama, to this is the reason. This is the reason these things happen. We may not understand the mechanical, the Medua, but we do see that all things work together for good for those that glorify his name. We do see that Yah's word is true from Genesis to Revelation, and his word will be fulfilled. And these things help bring our Messiah, Yeshua, back. So Medua, Lama, which one are we asking, and how do we need to change our thought process? Let's change it to Lama and look at the big spiritual picture.
Wow. That's a good perspective. So much just digs into that one word,
Why?
Yeah, why? Mark, what are your thoughts about why? Shit that Sandi brought out.
Well, it brings me and both of you. We talked about this probably last Monday, as I had brought to the fact that I had not, for the most part, people that know me know that I also go to a good sized church on Sunday morning, and people ask me stuff all the time. And it's exactly what Sandi's saying. You have to weigh your answer. And for instance, I was gone from that church for the whole month of December because they had 10 Christmas trees spread out all over. 4 or 5 of them were on the stage, and so I just didn't go that month because I don't want to be in that presence. And only one person had asked me why I was gone so long, and which was, kind of, I don't know that I would ask somebody that, but they were probably expecting that for the Christmas season, I probably went to another part of the country to visit family or something, and that's the answer they were expecting. But of course, we all know my reason is because Christmas trees being pagan, and even scripture says that you don't want to cut down a tree and bring it in your house and put tinsel and purties on it. And there's a lot involved in the season of the month of December. And so my across the board answer to a lot of questions are, I'd love to talk about it, but I'd have to give you a half an hour of teaching just to answer your question. And the whole idea is, to me, is the mechanical part and the spiritual part, the full picture that you're talking about, in a lot of ways work together. I mean, sometimes you can use the mechanical part and let that bring you into the spiritual part. Sometimes you can only give that spiritual part because that's what the person you're talking to requires. You have to weigh who you're talking to in that aspect. Now, on the other hand, I think I know for a fact that the reason for a lot of the bickering and fighting and everything going on within the Messianic lifestyle is because of the mechanical part. People don't agree on those mechanics. When you get to the big picture, nobody seems to fight over that. Nobody seems to bring those issues up as a I don't want to go, I don't, but you come to the mechanical parts, the little details of different things, and it's like, no, I don't see it that way. The scripture doesn't say that. The words don't say this, blah, 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 blah. So to me, there's a wide spectrum of ways to look at what you're talking about. What you're talking about is 100% right. And there are different ways to take that and present it when you're presenting it, because that is what you're saying. I mean, to yourself, sometimes you have to have, it's the same way. Sometimes you have to have those mechanical parts to help twist that and understand that spiritual part, and vice versa. That's the way I look at it. And that's the way I study and perceive things.
Yeah. No, I get that. When Sandi was talking about the whys, I was remembering back in working with a major insurance company where I managed the claims office out of Amarillo, and one of the management techniques, they always have the management seminars and how to manage better and all that sort of thing. And one of the things that they had brought up and is you always want to get down to the bottom line. What's the bottom line? And this is really kind of goes to the mechanics of things, but it was a business model that I think the Japanese have come up with, and it's called the 5 whys. And so whenever you have an issue going on, you say why, and you're talking to an employee. There's maybe some things that need to be taken care of and need to get to the bottom line, and ask why. Well, there's always the first answer, and then
Physical.
then you next ask the next why.
Logical.
And then you ask the next why.
Justification.
And then you ask the next why.
Motivation.
And then and then finally you're to the bottom line why. And what was that?
I don't have that one.
But then you find out what the real issue is, so you can actually come up with real solutions. And but that's really dealing with mechanical issues. But I was thinking about this as well, because in the things that, we all have trials going on. Sandy and I've, right now with
our navigating waters
and that type of thing. And we see different things going on. We're asking why, Father, we're praying, why are these things going on? But on Shabbat, the Father had given me a message for the congregation, and it was about perspective and how, and looking at different things. When people really receive breakthrough, how does the breakthrough come? Because it's just one word from God. That's all it takes, is one word from God, and everything changes. But the issue is sometimes we're so terrestrial, we're so covered up in the midst of that swamp, so to speak, that we can't break out to really see from the Father's eyes what's really going on. And it's about, well, how do you elevate out of the swamp in order to see through his eyes? And that's through worship. It's through breaking through to the point that, and sometimes people will worship for 5 and 10 minutes. It's not enough. If we're still in the swamp, we're still in the swamp. We haven't elevated out of it. We've been trying to praise, we've been trying to think, but we haven't had that breakthrough. And sometimes we got to break through the second heaven, so to speak, where all of the powers and the principalities are, to break through to the third heaven, to have a perspective. But sometimes that it's like our prayers are hitting a ceiling of brass. We can't get through. Our praises are hitting that ceiling. But when the breakthrough comes, what happens? Go ahead, Sandy.
Well, I wanted to say in worship even, and so many of our Messianic Hebrew Roots congregations are completely missing that, or just give a nod to it. Because here's the thing is, I've been leading worship since 1986. That's a little bit of time. I've led for thousands, and I've led for small groups. But your point is, you pray, and God gives you what you need to do, because there's a message through the song. But when you get into the river, when you get to that place, you feel all of a sudden the breakthrough happen. That's the place where you are to take, as a worship leader, worship pastor, you are to help usher the people into that place in his presence. And when you've gotten there, and then you let the people rest, and that's where you stay or you stop. Now, if you're just going through motions, it doesn't get you anywhere. But if you're you're like, Father, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to, till I get you, I'm going to pursue you and push in till I get there to be in your presence, so that I can hear and see and experience all that you have for me.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
So when we praise and we worship, it says that in Psalms that Yahweh is enthroned upon our praises. Well, what happens when he's enthroned upon our praises? He pulls us up to his throne. Just think about that. And that's where his scepter is, where he extends that scepter. It's just that one word, that thing that we've been looking for. The whole answer we needed comes through. The why no longer matters. It's all of a sudden the answer for the breakthrough is there. What we needed is there. And so anyway, that's where I think, all these elements come together, because sometimes we just feel so overwhelmed and we're just pressed down in this murky, smelly, swampy condition. And the Father just wants to lift us up. And really, it's kind of setting us upon the rock, and he's holding us by the hand. He's wiping all that murky, miry clay off of us so that we can, and all of a sudden there's an answer. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Sandy, read off those 4 motivational things you read there.
The physical cause, why did this stone roll down the hill? The logical cause, the justification, and the motivation.
Physical, logical, justification, and motivation. And what?
And motivation.
And motivation. Do you see the progression?
And that's from Aristotle, by the way.
What?
That's from Aristotle.
Yeah, I don't care who can you see, though, the progression from physical to spiritual? Look at each one of them and look at a stair step of how that progresses into the fifth one being spiritual. What's
right.
that?
Which for Aristotle, the fifth one, where you get to the spiritual, is not actually there. So
yeah, I get that. I understand. I'm just saying, without knowing who it comes from, I'm just looking at those steps. And some people need that progression, and it's different. It's different people's, psyche. It's how they work. It's what it takes. Not everybody gets to an end result the same way.
Yeah. And, one other thing I wanted to mention about this is that a lot of times people will like to say, well, you're in that murky, miry muck, that swamp, because of sin, or you lack faith, or, there's some, check your life, see if you've done anything. Sometimes it may be none of those things. Sometimes it's just a challenge, but we need to be pulled out of it in order to see God's perspective. Now, when we get to that place where we've been pulled, he's elevated and his throne is elevated, but he pulls us to the throne. We might be like Isaiah, I'm undone, and recognize, we're like, I'm a sinful man and I live among sinful people and that type of thing. And he pulls out the issues of our life, and there's a time of repentance and that type of thing. Ultimately, that's what happens when we come into the presence of God. But in that time, there's such reverential awe. There is a cleansing, everything that we thought mattered, everything that might have been hindering, anything that was a lack of faith, any of those things, whether it's we just feel that we have come into the significance of that relationship, that nothing else matters. And we see, and because his word brings the breakthrough, and that's where the life comes. So,
amen. Good word.
Yeah.
Good word, Sandi.
Good job, Sandi. You did good. Hey, Mark, I want to give you a moment. Talk about the website. What's going on at the website?
What's going on? What, Sandi? You were shocked that he said that.
I just no.
She's watching the clock.
Oh, well, we don't have to do this.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna bring this up. I'll promise I'll take 43 seconds to do this. So I don't know what to do now. So how come that's not? There we go. Okay, the website. The website is now. I'm trying to get the website to the point where. Like if you get the thing Susan, the MailChimp that Susan sends out every 2 weeks, this last Sunday, what it was talking about is, are you tired of the shows that you watch on TV in the evening? Are you tired of Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime shows? And, are you looking for something new? Yeah, you can come to MessianicLambRadio.com, MessianicLambNetwork.com. And let me tell you, there are all kinds of things now on this website that you can just come in and click on something and watch. And I am slowly building it up to the point where it's just full. All of these different things you see. Look at this some guy by the name of John Craig reporting here, and Sherry Flanagan there, and all kinds of little things that you can come in at Health from the Inside Out. You can get that. You can go watch a whole series. You can binge watch, those type of things. So anyway, that's what the website's about. Look at this. It's snowing. It's snowing on the net. No, it's not anymore. But there you go. It's just kind of update there on the website, trying to keep things flowing and make it easy for people. If you're looking for something to watch and you don't know what you want to watch, go to the Lamb Network and the website. And right there on the front page, you can just pick and choose what you want to watch and listen to. There's hours of stuff.
Yeah, cool. Very good.
Thank you for that plug.
Yeah, no, that's and that's great news. And you don't have to just try to search out these programs from the YouTube station. You can just go straight to the website.
Don't go to the YouTube station unless you're just used to it. Go to the website. It's so much easier to watch. I mean, right there on the website, right there, what I was showing you. My gosh, look at this. Hello, come on. Right there, looking for something to watch today's live broadcast. Look, right there. If I click on that, we're watching our show right now. Right from the website. All you can do is click on that right there.
Yeah.
I click on it, but we'd start, it wouldn't be good.
We're going to start hearing an echo.
Read the echo in infinity, but right there on the website. You don't have to go to YouTube. It's right there. And it's going to take you where the chat is and everything. Come on.
Good job, Mark.
Don't go to YouTube. It's worthless. You can't find what you want on YouTube. Go to the website, please. Thank you.
All right. Good deal.
Like
good
it's
deal.
Sandy smiling, even though I screwed up her time.
Hey,
It's not my time, it's his.
so
I'll give you 5 minutes. And it won't cost you anything. Literally, I'll just add it on, and not charge you for it.
oh, that's very generous.
Joe, by the way, has been timing you, Mark. She said it was 1 minute, 45 seconds.
Hey, I'm going to give them 5 minutes. What do you care if it's 1:45?
All right. Hey, so let's jump into this week's news section. And in spite of all the goofy headlines, this is actually a little bit more serious, but it's a little bit different this week than I usually do, because a lot of times I bring up really controversial things and I bring about things that make our stomachs go in knots and all of that. And I don't want to do that this week. This week is actually a good news piece. And this was, I just came across it in the last few days, but it was published on October 15th over at foxnews.com. And the headline is Saudi Arabia opens tourism to ancient biblical sites. And, quote, the atmosphere is changing, unquote, is how the headline reads. And going on from there, it says, as Saudi Arabia increasingly opens up to tourists, a travel group in the country started offering this week a first ever Christian tour of rare sites, promising participants to a close-up look at a controversial location believed to be the real Mount Sinai, the mountain where, according to the Bible, God gave Moses the 10 commandments. Now that we're getting into Shemot and getting into Exodus, this is all part of the wilderness journey. Well, this is what Saudi Arabia is doing. This is Saudi Arabia, which has been closed for tourism the last several decades, has a dismal record of human rights, decided to give tourist visas on the heels of the second delegation of evangelical leaders from America, hosted by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman last year and earlier this year. The atmosphere in Saudi Arabia is changing, said Rhonda Sand, owner of U.S.-based travel company Living Passages. They are hard at work developing the country for Western tourism. Living Passages is taking a group of 25 people this week, so that was back in October, through Jethro's caves in the land of Midian.
Oh, how cool.
Believed to be ancient Midian. The tour will be led by Joel Richardson, the author of Mount Sinai in Arabia, the true location revealed. This portends to be the most significant new archaeological site in modern history, Richardson told Fox News. We're tremendously blessed that the Saudi government is allowing us to visit the kingdom to see some of its rich historical and geographical treasures. Richardson, who said this is one of the most faith-stirring experiences of his life, explained tourists will be flocking to see the historical mountain and other sites covered in a short documentary, Finding the Mountain of Moses, the Real Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia by Ryan Morrow, who will be leading a tour in February. And most notably, the group is visiting the Jabal el-Lawz mountain in the ancient land of Midian. Early Jewish, Christian, and Bedouin traditions have long attested this site to be the real Mount Sinai. The controversial theory contests the traditional locations in Egyptian Sinai Peninsula. On the northwest side of the mountain is the split rock of Horeb, a massive stone several stories tall, split down the middle with evidence of water erosion at its base. And so anyway, these are some things that are opening up. This is exciting to me, knowing all of these different things. It says also that this week's tourists will visit the town of ancient well held to be where Moses met his wife Zipporah, daughter of Jethro, after fleeing Egypt. And the group will explore the ruins of Dedan, Wadi Tayyib along the Red Sea coast, and Taimah, where Babylonian King Nebuchadnezzar may have occasionally stayed. So I just think this is exciting. And then they have a smart city that they're developing that should be fully functional by 2025 so that you can go to these tourism areas. Wow. It blew me away when I came across this article. It blew me away because it's been completely closed off. And I think it was Ron Wyatt and who's the other guy that's actually talked about these locations? Michael Rood. Yeah, Michael Rood's done video documentaries on this, and where they actually went in, and some people actually had to sneak in cameras. Somehow were able to get permission from the Saudi government to go in, but they took pictures and video of where the true Mount Sinai is, where it's even at the top, at the peak, where it looks like it's been burned, and it's dark at the peak where the cloud would have come down. And there at its base, they actually found where the altar was, where they put together these large stones, and
it's still somewhat intact.
And I think there has been evidence of the pottery that had been broken in the wilderness that relates back to the Exodus. And so that's really interesting to me. I wanted to bring it up. Sandi, I want to go on a trip to that area and see some of these amazing things. It's there in Mount Sinai, Mount Horeb, which is an alternative name, is where Elijah, when he was fleeing Jezebel, went all the way down to hear the voice of the Lord. And there are so many other things. So, Mark, what are your thoughts about this? The opening of tourism for this area to be able to see the wilderness.
Well, they pushed this to open already because the state of Arizona is also opening their own Mount Sinai theme park in May, just in time for tourists to come through. So, no, I'm just joking. It's fake. But this is, I remember them going through, and I've seen pictures and exactly word for word what you just described there 10 years or so ago, of people that had gone in there and they weren't supposed to. Saudi Arabia didn't allow people to come in there, but this area has been thought of and almost assured that it's the real place for years and years and years and years, because I can remember, I've seen literally pictures 10, 15 years ago of what they're talking about.
Right.
I would assume that Saudi Arabia, the government does not need any money whatsoever at all. So it's not like they're opening this up to tourists so that they can bring in a little extra cash to run the government, because it's Saudi Arabia. So what their motive is for this, because Saudi Arabia is 100% Muslim and their government's Muslim, everything about them is Muslim. I don't know what their motivation for finally opening this is, but that would be an interesting story to me. Is what, Sandy?
I just said it goes back to our question of why.
Yeah, it goes back to the question of why, because in the whole report you just said there, I didn't really hear a why they're opening, just that they are and what the description of everything is. That description, along with pictures, has been around for a long time, word for word. So it makes me wonder, why, if they were so heavy about, being extremely illegal to the point where planes fly over it on a regular basis, why are they now opening this up to tourists?
Medua or Lama.
Yeah. Well, considering the kingdom of Saud and all of their oil fields and that type of thing, they highly protected those oil fields, and they have highly protected those. They don't want anybody flying over. But their nation, their kingdom, has been closed. It is almost been run like a Eastern European Stasi-led communist type of country. I mean, that totalitarian type of regime, and where travel is limited. You have to have papers. You have to have all of those type of things. Around these sites, they put fences and gave warnings that there was forbidden to cross into and even to explore it. And they're just in complete wilderness areas. I've always thought, well, what are they hiding? That's what my thought is what have they been hiding? What type of narrative are they trying to protect? This Prince Solomon, who is expected to take over as king of Saudi Arabia, he is supposed to inherit the kingdom. He has led a lot of reforms, which it has included within Saudi Arabia, allowing women to drive, and bringing in movie theaters and other types of entertainments for the people. This is a breakthrough from the way the kingdom has been run in the past. So these type of reforms are going on, and it seems like he's wanting to show Saudi Arabia in a little bit softer light among in the world. So to build a better view of their kingdom. But there's also the aspect, and it does have to do with oil, because there is a move to shift from the petrodollar, and America and the US dollar has been directly tied to the Saudi oil, and which has set the dollar prices as part of the world basket of currencies. The US dollar is the big boy in that. If they start to shift from that petrodollar, as America is becoming the largest oil producer in the world, and the dollar is not finding strength, then so goes the value of what the Saudi kingdom has. And I think they're trying to diversify in other realms. And I think there's an opening up. In fact, part of that opening up to alternate industries is how Saudi Arabia is trying to develop in the tech market and explore their ability to in technological computer, AI technology, that type of thing. Those are some things that they've been doing because their diversification is big, and they've actually been selling off portions of Aramco. So I think it's part of a process that they are trying to shift with the current times as well. But I think this is significant in allowing people to go down and visit these tourist sites, just as Israel has been opened up. Oh, those are my thoughts on it.
Can we take it? Do we have time to take it to a spiritual level? In other words, this site specifically, of all the other places, is if it really is, and everybody's saying this is really the place, it actually proves a Judeo-Christian ethic or belief system rather than a Muslim belief system, because the Muslims split off long in Abraham, with Abraham long before the the people that were in Egypt. Those are the people of we have the people of Ishmael and Isaac. These are the people of Isaac. See, and so Mount Sinai is going to prove that lineage rather than Ishmael's lineage. And so since Saudi Arabia is of Ishmael's lineage, then why would they want to promote something that's going to prove the opposite of what it's not so much. I don't know. I'm just asking the question, just hypothetically, why would they? Go ahead, Sandy.
Well, I was going to say, if you remove the tradition of Armageddon and go to Har Moed, which is what it says when you go back into some transcripts from long ago, Har Moed, the mountain of the Lord, and that's where the armies gather around the mountain where God's people are, and you'll hear some teaching from that by Steve Mutri.
Right.
Like that.
I do know that.
Then you've got that spiritual significance. That whole place has been opened up for Yah's people legally to gather. And of course, I believe Yah will bring us there. And so you have that spiritual long term, and that's where the armies of the Lord will gather around Har Moed, the mountain of the Lord, not Armageddon.
Mountain of the festivals. Moed festivals.
Yeah.
The mount, I misspoke. The mountain of the festivals, Mount Sinai.
So would you say that that our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, literally had his hand in opening the views of this Saudi president to allow this to happen so that the future events can happen? Is that what you're saying?
I said potentially that could be, yes.
That could be what's going on is that. Now, it's real interesting. Are you guys familiar with the show on Netflix called Messiah?
Yes.
Have you watched it?
I'm not all the way through it yet. I was going to actually.
We've only watched the first 2 episodes, so don't.
Well, I was gonna suggest, because I want to discuss it on the next chapter.
I'm interested, but I've only got the first 2 shows. It's interesting to me that this guy stands on the steps going up to the mosque and talks about peace, talks about all this, and it put my mind in that if Yeshua was here today, if he talked to Muslims, he talked to them in what's the Muslim language?
In Arab, in Arabic.
In Arabic, so is it Arabic really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it depends on what country they're in, of course.
Okay. Arabic, anyway, we're taking too much time. It just all this story stair steps into a million other things.
And then it stair steps is at the end. Animasiah, and again, I was going to suggest, just stay tuned, folks, because we're going to have one of our segments in the future. Soon future is going to be on this. And I'm going to let Mark bring it forth too. So
yeah, well,
the movie segment.
Oh, movie segment. You want to know what movie I watched this week? Is that what you're at?
No. The Messiah on the movie segment of our show.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about it. That's good.
Yeah.
We got the Brit Hadashah segment of this show going.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, good discussion. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because this is really huge and so many different implications for us. So we do want to move into the Brit Hadashah portion. And I have a special guest that I want to introduce to everyone out there. And this is the long lost grandson of one of the wise men. Yeah, because this is based on Matthew 2, 1 through 12. And so this is Oscar Carl Delacroix. And I want to bring him into the picture. Hello, Oscar.
Well, you can call me OCD.
Okay. All right.
Not
Hi,
because
OCD.
I am OCD, because it's Oscar Carl Delacroix. So my friends just call me OCD.
Okay, OCD. I'm glad
I
that
think it would be OCDC.
OCDC.
Easy. Oh, come on. No.
Oh.
That was a famous rock and roll band back in my
OCD. Focus. OCD. Focus.
Sorry about that. What's up? Yeah, my granddad was Larry. He was one of the wise men. He was the middle wise men. You know, when you see the scene where at Christmas time where everybody's out there, you got the three wise men. My granddad was Larry, the middle one.
Larry. Okay. All right. It's kind of like Larry, and
No. People say that every time, but it's not.
Oh,
You got Jimmy, Joe, Bob, Larry, and Randy, the three wise men.
Okay.
So
Thanks for saying that.
this week's Torah portion is Matthew 2:1 through 12. And I thought, actually what I've come across, now my granddad left me this video that actually took place when they talked to Herod. And if you'll read through that portion in the Brit Hadashah about all this, I'll stop you and explain really what happened there. I can't show the video. It's not, today they don't use that, it's like .9736 or something like that. It's not like MP4 or anything.
Oh, like VHS or something, right?
Yeah, it's no.
Or betas, like the old beta tapes. Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay, so let's read. Begin with verse 1 of chapter 2 of Matthew. Now, after Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For he saw his star in the east and have come to worship him."
Now, what really happened there, the Magi, we were actually wise men. Everybody knew us as wise men because we studied the Torah, and we had all the answers, no matter what it was. And so when Herod saw that we were coming, because we actually sent it out in a MailChimp to everybody, because we have a real wide range of people that follow us on our website, thewisemagi.com, that we send out the MailChimp and let people know where we're going. And Herod is on that list. So he knew we were coming. Now, that's not really what we said, or he said, he says, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews?" We were never going to tell him where he was. That wasn't what it was all about. And they said that they saw the star. They didn't really see the star. They just knew that we were coming, and he just kind of turned all that around. So go ahead.
All right. And when Herod the king heard about the wise guys, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
Yeah, like he had people that were going out through the streets, and they were taking surveys of people and posting them on the website, and it's just really not true. He was troubled, but Jerusalem was really happy this was going on. It's just it's not all Jerusalem. That's just and they really only surveyed so many, and it was people that they knew who, of course, is going to be troubled. But the rest of Jerusalem that really didn't get part of that survey, they were troubled. They were happy.
And gathering together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he began to inquire of them where the Messiah was to be born.
Yeah, that's true. That actually happened. And we came in, and that little spiel there, Jimmy, Joe, Bob, is the one we let kind of give out that information there. And he says, "Oh, you old Bethlehem in the land of Judah are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who shall shepherd my people Israel." Now, Herod wasn't happy about that. He just wasn't. It was like, I'm the ruler of Judah, and we ain't letting no kid come in here and take over my reign. So head on there.
Okay. Well, then verse 7, then Herod secretly called the wise guys, the Magi, and ascertained from them the time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go ahead, go and make careful search for the child." And when
that's just bull cocky right there is what it is. Herod didn't send us out. The Lord sent us out. We saw the star. We knew where we were going. Now you see how Herod turns thing around like a stinking Jezebel. He'll just say, "Oh yeah, I sent them out and I told them, go search out the child. And when you found him, bring me word." And yeah, like we were gonna do that. Yeah, you bet. Go ahead.
"And when you found him, report to me that I too may come and worship him." And having heard the king, they went their way, and lo, the star which they had seen in the east went on before them until it came and stood over where the child was.
That's right. It was over there. It was in that direction over there. That's what it looked like on the video, that it was kind of just about over there. And we followed it all the way up to it. It was pretty cool, from the way it looked on the video.
And when they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And they came into the house and saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. And opening their treasures, they presented to him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh.
They actually had a Holy Ghost revival right there of the spot. As soon as they saw the child and Mary, and it's just the Holy Ghost came on them, on every one of them. And every one of them were singing Paul Wilbur songs and all kinds of stuff, because it was just an amazing time. And it's almost like there was just like this pillar of cloud and fire and everything, right there. And it was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
And having been warned by God in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed for their own country in another way.
That's right. There's no way they were going back. No way. It was just, they knew actually Herod was just such an evil guy that they possibly would have died, and we knew that, and so we just weren't going back. But I'll tell you what, watching that video and that Holy Ghost revival they had when they saw Yeshua there, and Miriam and all that was pretty cool. So there you go. I hope that helps you have a little bit better perspective of what really happened during the time.
All right. And so bringing it back to what Sandi was talking about earlier, why?
Why? There's so many answers to that.
Whole show.
So pick one of the questions to ask why, and I'll answer that for you. But there's like multiple questions in all this one. It's like, why do I have this label right there? Why don't they make these head covers and put the label in the back? I don't get it.
That's definitely mechanical, Medua.
It is. It's just unreal. But that's the way they're designed. For some reason, anyway.
All right. Sometimes they turn the head coverings around, so the labels.
No, this was designed this way. I don't know what the deal is. You know, my granddaddy Larry, he used to wear almost exactly the same head covering, and it bugged him too. You know, so.
Well, OCD, we really appreciate your insights there.
Anytime. I'll be glad to come back. You know, your pay grade is just perfect. I like it.
Yeah. Hey, so is there any way that we can get a copy, digitize that video?
No. If that ever got out, oh my gosh, you know, there would be all kinds of irrationalization about everything if that ever got out, you know. So we're just going to file that away in the same place that Indiana Jones files all his things away in that big, big storage facility, you know, that they.
Yeah.
Come on, you see the movies?
Yeah. Out there in the desert somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Just got to watch out for those Russians that may be trying to find those special.
That's right.
Objects of antiquity.
That's right. That's right.
So what that also reminded me of something that is interesting. If you have a software or an app on your phone or on your computer that is Solarium or something that's like that, you can actually go back to see where the alignment of the stars were that match the time of the Magi. And it's very interesting. And I think the phenomenon is supposed to happen again, but there is an alignment of Jupiter and Saturn that came together at the same time. And there's kind of some significance with that. And there may have been another star that was involved, but it was a very, very unique alignment that doesn't happen very often at all. I think it's happened once in history, and it goes back to the 3rd century BC, which would have been at the time of the birth of Messiah. And
it's not going to happen again. I mean, the Messiah is only supposed to be born one time.
Oh, no.
You're never going to have the same incident happen again. You know.
No, I understand that. It's such a unique alignment. And so anyway, I just thought that was also very interesting, is that there is, just like we were talking about in the article, the evidence of our faith is real. And even the evidence of the stars with using applications like the Solarium, you can actually go back to that date and see the alignment to see exactly from Jerusalem, or even from these Magi from the east, that they followed the stars. They knew and they were looking for it. Daniel taught them and how to see the exact timing of the birth of Messiah. And we can see it in our own applications today. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah. Does it show a video of them walking down the path, you know, and how the camels made them go one way, but does it show that?
No, it's all celestial.
Oh, celestial. Okay. Yeah. Well, that explains everything.
Yeah. They didn't quite have your copy. If they had your copy, they could integrate it.
Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to a conclusion for the show with everything we talked about today. You want to make sure, give us a thumbs up if you like what you heard, some of the things that we talked about in the headlines, the news stories, the Torah portion, the Brit Hadashah. Put it on your social media and put a link to the Messianic Lamb radio.com so that people can see all of the other great programming that we have here and let people know what's going on. I want to say thank you very much, Cram, or OCD, or no,
OCD's already left.
OCD left, yeah. Okay,
He's gone.
Yeah, we appreciate his special appearance. Cram, for you're
more than welcome
hosting today. Appreciate that.
I'll be on Chameleon Church Show tomorrow, and the Compass of Cram on Wednesday, and the next chapter on Thursday. So I'm here.
That's a crowded schedule, Mark. I remember that. Anyway, we can talk about that.
I noticed you said I remember, and then cut it off real quick.
Yeah.
Funny how the brain works.
Yeah. So, but anyway, thank you, Sandi, for actually doing the Torah portion too. Actually doing the Torah portion.
I've done the Torah portion many times. I do it whenever you ask.
And you do a great job, and I appreciate that. So
did a great job. Really good. It did what it was supposed to. Rabbi trails upon rabbi trails.
That's right. Well, and just so you know, Sandi and I pastor together Life of Worship here in Amarillo, Texas, and you can find out more about us at www.lifeofworshipamarillo.org. And besides this show, we also host Tuesday evenings. Walking in Spirit and Truth. This is Let Us Reason Together. Walking in Spirit and Truth on the same network.
8 p.m. Central, as well as the next chapter on Thursdays at this time slot. But also, if you want to watch us, our services are on YouTube Live around 6 p.m. Central Time. And we actually start earlier than that, but we're not broadcasting it all yet. And then we have our Torah portions at 2 p.m. Central Time on Pal Talk. And we would love for you to join us.
Yeah. So,
and maybe one day they'll be on this video network.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, thank you for joining us. And until next time, shalom. Uh-oh.
Well, shalom soon.
Shalom soon.
Da, 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 da.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.